Welcome everybody to the podcast. This is episode 101. Big episode today, I guess.
As opposed to every other week. Shitty episodes. This is the week to tune in.
This is the week you pay attention.
Every other week, those other 100 episodes, who gives a shit? This week is the show.
We officially have a podcast gym shoe.
Yeah. We already have a cell phone, too. The LG Stylo, whatever it is that me and Steve have.
So we have the Stylo, the LG Stylo phone of the podcast. Now we're going to have the official gym shoe. That's coming a little later. But, of course, I am your co-host, Steve, and always joined by...
Charles is here. And
the man, the myth, the legend that's hot on top of the backgrounds himself, BV. How you doing, Bill?
I'm all right. How are you?
Is that like a beige Alabama hat? That's a weird choice.
It's like a gray or tan.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like a light gray.
Put up your 20. Tan. Do you got a 20 ouncer of Coke you can put on the podium while you're going to talk to us about anything, BB?
Oh, I just have I have my water.
Oh,
I have my lemonade.
Where's your 20
He's
ouncer?
rocking that Fiji, man. He loves that Fiji.
He loves Fiji. Overpriced $5 water. You BB can't get enough of it.
That is not the official water of the podcast.
Yeah, no, we can't afford
it's only like $2 a piece.
Bullshit. Whatever you need to tell your freaking accountant.
So I'm going to go throw a curveball right now, and I'm going to congratulate someone on a happy birthday. It is Jenny Witt's 43rd birthday, Michelle's cousin.
Oh my God, we do even know who she is.
That's the one I went to Vegas when I got to see all the stuff in Vegas before everything went to shit. So congratulations to her. Happy birthday. Women after the 40, they don't want to count their birthdays, but it is her 43rd birthday. So congratulations to her. And I don't know if Michelle called her, wished her happy birthday, but also Lisa Morales this past week, she had a birthday. She's 45 with the rest of us, well, except for Charles.
Does anyone know like Coco Beware's birthday? Yet. Can we give a shout out to Coco Beware?
These people I'm mentioning, I know. I don't know.
Steve's getting
the Honky Tonk Man might be next week, though. I don't know.
Oh, man, dude. Happy birthday, Honk.
So there's a couple of congratulations. I like to start on a positive note before we go into the latest situation and COVID, but actually it's kind of positive on the COVID angle here in Michigan. We are starting to open up. So this Monday, all the barbers and BV's open. Some of the restaurants are open now, but the rest will be open by Monday, June 15th. Best Buy, most importantly, will be open. The barber shops will be open.
Best Buy, I think, was already open, wasn't it? It hasn't opened until now? Because a bunch of other retail stores have opened. I went into Dick's and Dunham's and stuff like that.
Yeah, Best Buy was still doing the curbside stuff, but you can officially walk into the Best Buy starting Monday. But they're only open to like 6 in the afternoon, so get there quick because they will be closed pretty quick. So now on the news, I did hear that they are commending Gretchen Whitmer on her stern policy, saying it helped us.
What?
That's a puke on that one.
The healthcare workers are thanking her, is what you said?
No, I don't. It's not healthcare workers. It's just a general consensus, political views and stuff. They're all saying.
Do you want to thank her, Steve? What do you want to do? Now is your time.
No, I do not want to thank her. But whatever. Congratulations to her. So as you know, things are going on in the world. Cops are not people's favorite right now. So we can say a couple things going on. The one, NASCAR, and I find this hard to believe.
I find this hard to believe that 3 years ago this was an issue, and now they just now decided to, like, it's kind of like the NFL thing. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, NASCAR has banned the Confederate flag from anybody racing and from their crowd that'll be in person, even though I think they're still racing in front of empty crowds. No Confederate flags. Is anyone upset about this?
No, nor should you be. I don't know. Bubba Wallace was the driver who called for it. But again, everyone's commending NASCAR for this, but I'm like, we're 3 years too late. Like, this is just not now an issue. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, NASCAR should have pulled the plug on the Confederate flag years ago when that uproar happened. Everyone's wanting to congratulate them, and it's much like the NFL to me. It's too little too late, in my opinion. But, BV, you have any thoughts on that?
Exactly. In fact, this is so much of a blatant move to try to garner public favor that I'm not convinced they're only going to keep the ban in place until the heat dies down.
And then they'll loosen up the guidelines, kind of thing.
Yeah, because their fans are, a lot of their fans are pretty serious about this whole. A lot of people in the South, unfortunately not as many as they used to be, are really serious about this whole Confederate flag as a symbol of their history crap, and decide to focus on every little thing other than the blatant, obvious symbolism of the
hatred that it's
over the last 400 years. But, I'm not buying it.
Charles and I were talking about earlier in the week. I don't get it. I mean, you're supporting the side that lost.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there should be Confederate flags in museums and stuff so we can learn from our history, but I don't think people need to rock them on their F-150s with their gun racks.
And to BV's point, like, it's a symbol of, like, the slavery times and the oppression of a race. Like, I mean, it doesn't represent well at all. It's just not good, man.
That being said, I mean, I was in Alabama for law school not even 15 years ago when I left, and I literally had people on a pretty regular basis with a straight face when talking about the Civil War refer to it as the War of Northern Aggression.
What?
And there seriously was a contingent that seemed to truly believe that the South would eventually rise again.
Oh,
so I'm really not that surprised about how a lot of people just don't get it. Fortunately, Fortunately, I think people in all areas are coming around, but there's still a huge percentage of this country that aren't getting it and probably never will.
That's crazy.
The South will rise again. What are they waiting for? The year 3033? Or I mean, what is?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, when are they going to do this rising again?
Well, I got news for you. If Florida is any tip of the spear for the South, they're screwed because Florida is a cluster. Oh my God.
Yeah. So another news also going with that is, and this is kind of shocking. Everyone here is familiar with the show Cops. Was anyone familiar that it was still airing?
I wasn't. BV, did you know it was still on the air? Yeah, I associate it with like Married with Children back in the day. Like that's when I thought Cops was on. I didn't know it was still actively filming. I was shocked to hear this.
And then Live PD, which was kind of the next step. I've seen it a couple times. A lot of people like it. It's just live in and out of different cops and their lives and stuff. Allegedly live while you watch. Both shows have been removed and canceled from cable. I was just surprised Cops was still on the air, to be honest with you. I mean, how much are they out once they cancel this?
Well, I don't know. I hit you up midweek about it. Like, you're probably better off having film crews with some of these police officers. You know what I mean? Like, what I'm worried about is if you pull film crews away, it's going to get even worse. I don't know.
Yeah,
well, that depends on how you look at it, though, right? Because all it's going to take is one situation on one of those live PD shows where someone pulls some kind of crazy shit, and it's now not only on the cop's body camera, it's on live television.
I don't know. I would assume they're on their best behavior when you have a film crew with them. They've weaseled their way around with the body cam thing. A lot of these dirty cops have figured out ways to like have them malfunction at the exact right time and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know.
Technical difficulties. Yeah, it was a glitch.
I don't know, man.
So
we're living the Watchmen.
Now, another great story, and Bill told me this one earlier in the week. I want him to do it about the riots in Chicago and a gang of cops that were just eating popcorn. Bill, tell us about that one.
Okay, so this was
the video.
Yeah, this was a couple weekends ago. This is when the major protesting and rioting really took up. So this was 2 Sunday nights ago. We actually got off the podcast. And we got done talking. It was probably about 7:30 my time. I went out in the living room and started watching the news, and they kept showing this big strip mall in Southside. Blatantly, there's like a Family Dollar, this one like urban clothing store called Be Fresh. There was this. They had this furniture store, some kind of like a furniture outlet, and there was this pretty large African-American woman for about 5 minutes, just directly in TV cameras right on, trying to get this mattress, getting it stood up, on its end, dragging it towards the door, opening the door, getting it out, leaning against the post. Someone comes and they start loading it into a car. So this looting is going on, and the way this is set up, so just give you like a piece of it, that there's sort of, it's not quite as large, I don't think, as like the Hill, over by you guys. But it's one of those things where there's like strip malls on different sides, and then there's like a building that's a little bit closer to the street. The building was the campaign office of an Illinois congressman. And so that had been, I guess, previously looted or vandalized, and the officers apparently were in the sitting in the, and as the photo shows, were sitting in the in this guy's campaign office for about 4 or 5 hours during the early hours.
That was going on around them.
In the middle of the night. Yeah, while the looting and stuff and how this was a really kind of high, damage area. So there was looting and things being destroyed and set on fire directly around them and in the areas within the few blocks. So the representatives' internal security camera picks this up, and there's a guy laying on the couch taking a nap. They made coffee. They broke into the congressman's popcorn and made some in the microwave, and they're just sitting there chilling for 4 to 5 hours while all this stuff is going on, literally right outside the window. Turns out that they filmed 13 cops, 3 of which were supervisors. So the mayor came on. I happened to flip onto the news in the middle of the week. The congressman actually had just lost a family member that day, and so had been going through. So it didn't really come out until earlier this week. But the mayor kind of talking about it, and they're showing the video, and they said that they had deployed cops from all the precincts in the city all over the place. So they were still trying to determine the identities of the cops. Wow. But yeah, so of course, of the police chief and others, because literally at the same time, while all this was going on, there were cops in other parts of the city sitting there dealing with groups of rioters, and I guess there were like 120 Chicago police officers that were injured that night. And these guys were just chilling in here making coffee and popcorn and shit. So,
well, at least they weren't abusing anybody, I guess.
Well, yeah, they also weren't protecting the community either. So, yeah, this total mess. I mean, another stain on the Chicago Police Department's reputation, as if they really could afford to have any more. But I'm not justifying any of the violent activities or the destruction of property that people are doing in town. But when you're dealing with a police department where there's consistently issues with, shooting unarmed black men, hanging out without permission, hanging out in someone's campaign office while looting's going outside them, kind of makes you wonder why people get in the mindset that they do.
Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
So what
ridiculous.
repercussions are they looking at? Like, what blowback is happening, I guess would be my question.
Well, the mayor has been, I guess, because not knowing off the top of her head what the repercussions could be, is saying that she wants to see the strictest possible punishment for them once they're identified. I would presume they're going to end up being fired.
I don't know, man. Chicago's got really tough union ties. I doubt they're going to be fired.
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying, like, that's going to be a whole thing, because they technically.
Well, it's funny you mention that, because she's now taking this as a platform to sort of to start now pushing for full police reform, and the Fraternal Order of Police is the primary the primary roadblock there.
Yeah.
So they have a very tenuous
union.
relationship with FAP. So you may be right. I mean, it may not be as easy to terminate them as it should be, but I would assume that would be the punishment they'd be looking to.
I smell arbitration in someone's future.
But yeah, just a total freaking cluster.
So there you go. So the cops either they're being abusive or they're chilling, eating popcorn and coffee. There's no in between with them, I swear.
Yeah, they're going to shoot you, or they're going to just sit there and watch you do it.
Yeah, they got overhaul for the justice system.
Well,
is probably
and
gonna
to
be
your
coming.
point, like watching them do it, that stuff that's going on in Seattle, as Steve tipped to me earlier in the week and stuff like that. Talk about watching someone do it. There's the example of that too.
Yeah.
I guess congratulations needed to go out to the new country we have in
Yeah,
Seattle. I
wow.
forgot about that one. The country of Chaz.
Yeah,
Congratulations to them. So
Big ups to the new sovereign nation.
yeah. So let's get on a little bit lighter note. Now, this week I did go to Charles' house, hang out with my daughter was swimming, and he inspired me to get some gym stuff. Not a punching bag because I want to breathe.
Yeah.
I built an outdoor cheap gym for $50.
There you go.
I went to Harbor Freight, got those mats you got, even though I'm missing one square. And then, of course, Harbor
short a
Freight ran out.
square or something like that.
Well, they come with 3 each, and I did like a 9, so I just need one more pack to fill
okay.
in one square.
They're only like $9 a pack or something.
Yeah,
like
but the
that.
problem is they sold out at all the local Harbor Freights.
Oh, okay.
So I got a square missing. I ordered a weighted jump rope. That was only $20. I found
there you
that.
go.
And then I got an app on my phone for the interval timer. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So right now I'm at 20, and then 20 for the mats, $40. And then I spent my last $6. So I was going to get an aerobic stepper, right? You know, those plastic
Yeah, the
steppers.
box.
Those are like 50. Those are $50. You know what instead I did? I got 4 cinder blocks.
Oh, there you go. Gee, it's like Compton at Steve's house, dude. All you need to do is get a gas pipe to hold those cinder blocks in a bench, dude. Steve's got
So there
the
you go.
yard. I'm telling
I
you.
got a $50 weight section.
love it.
I know everyone's gonna say I'm a big fatty. I don't work out. I actually do. I just love to eat too.
Yeah.
So, so I'm gonna try to avoid the gym over the summer and then just go in the winter if I have to. But so that's go. That's so. What do you have that's stuck in Oak Park?
I've got so my barbell and stuff like that has been delivered, but like it's stuck in Oak Park. It's been there for a week and a half at FedEx facility in Oak Park. So it's there, like arrived at their facility, but they haven't delivered it. I don't know what's going on at FedEx, but like a few pieces of my home gym that as I'm creating like Steve, I'm going a little more advanced than Steve, but yeah, it's just
I'm like
sitting
rocks in Russia.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I'm trying to get the fancy stuff with the steroids. But anyway, it's just been stuck there for like 8 days. It's unbelievable. I don't know what's going on. Like Lorna had a bike. We bought her a new bicycle early in the summer because it was time to get away from her. She had her old bike. It was her old training wheel bike, and we pulled the training wheels off. And then we got her actual first bike, you know what I mean, proper bike. It's been sitting in Oak Park. It sat in Oak Park for a week. My barbell stuff has been there over a week. It's crazy.
What did they say?
They said, sorry, motherfuckers.
What?
Michelle said FedEx has been on the news where they have a lot of delays going
Yeah,
on right
they're
now.
crazy. They need to hire some people immediately. It's unbelievable, man. I don't know what's going on with FedEx, but don't get shipped FedEx in Michigan, whatever you do. Crazy.
Amazon's working pretty good.
Amazon
Holly's
Prime.
The problem is you can't get
that shit
certain
comes early.
things. You can't. Amazon has no strength equipment. Like you can't get it, and
They
companies
have
are
no bicycles either.
yeah, and they're slowly companies are starting to get some stock in. And I got a company that shipped me some stuff, but there it sits in Oak Park just waiting on us. I'm like, God damn it. So
So I got a ghetto gym for $50, and Charles is waiting on his stuff from Oak Park.
yeah.
All right. Now this week, as we're going to unveil, do you want to do it now?
Yeah. So we talked last week about a man in his shoes. And I talked to BV about, like, we talked about societal impact of Nikes and all this kind of stuff. So I actually researched. Me and BV were kind of discussing the Stefan Marbury Starbury shoes. These were supposed to be a little bit better economical and not, there's supposed to be a branded shoe. And to BV's point, they were sold at Steve & Barry's. That's where they were sold at after me and you had a conversation about it. So I ordered these, and listen to this, guys. So I ordered these on a Monday for $15 a pair. Dude, they came Wednesday. So I'm talking my barbell's been sitting 8 days in Oak Park. They got these from North Carolina via UPS here in 2 days. Unbelievable. So I got...
Because they got a lot of inventory.
Yeah, dude, they were just happy to get an order. But these are these Starbury 3s. I got 2 pairs. Me and Steve got gargantuan feet, and they have very limited stock that were still available, and they happen to have some 14 and a half. And the nice part is, for me, I wear 14 in a lot of shoes. I'm sure Steve can get all the way with it. So first impressions being, we figured we'd do the unboxing here. I got to tell you, this box looks wholly generic. It looks like you ever see like
a lot of money on the graphics.
Yeah, you ever see like the generic like government issued milk containers and it's just white and black and it just says
Listen,
milk.
when you gotta sell a $15 sheet, you
Yeah,
gotta cut a quarter somewhere.
Yeah, you can't expect them to be a super high class in the box when they're giving you $15 sheet.
In their defense, Nike boxes are just orange with a swoosh.
Yeah, so it's not very high end. I agree. So I got two different colors. Steve, I asked him what color he wanted. He took the white and crimson Starbury 3s. I took the slates. I gotta tell you, the slate ones look kind of ill. I don't have an issue with this at all. I don't be for $15. Like what?
They look like old school Jordan knockoffs.
Yeah, I mean, am I crazy? But for $15, I guarantee you they come off the same line as all those Jordans. They're made in Wuhan, China. Where are they made
I
at?
can smell the Corona.
Yeah, you smell. Ooh, they got that fresh off the boat smell. But I gotta tell you, I don't know. I'm just telling you. So these are Stefan Marbury Starbury 3s. Me and Steve are gonna put them to the full test. Me and Steve are gonna go hoop tomorrow.
I tell you what, these things don't bend easily. They do not bend.
Yeah, well that's good. You don't gotta crease them so that we can keep them nice and clean. So anyway, I gotta tell you, for $15, I'm gonna so far. They got the little Starbury tongue logo there. You know, you see it right there, a little reversed on the camera.
So Bill would probably know this. How long has he been retired now?
I'm not sure exactly because he hasn't been in the NBA now for quite a while. My guess is probably at least 6 or 7 years.
Oh, okay.
But maybe even more like 10. But he actually ended up playing in the Chinese leagues and was a major star in China.
Okay. So he definitely had a fan base
these shoes
there.
were really successful in China. Yeah.
This is what they look like. They look like Houston Rocket shoes.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm not anti this. I don't know. I'm just telling you right now.
I see those and they kind of look to me like it's like Jordan 5s or Jordan 7s. Like they're sort of like the second wave of like the early 90s Jordans.
Look at Steve hiking his foot up. He can barely hike his foot up.
Yeah, after you said you'd bought them, I went on the website and looked. They really only had a few sizes available.
Very select. It seems like they're just
I was going to order a pair myself.
The official shoe of the podcast, BB. Yeah, I'm telling you. I got to tell you, I'm going to give for $15, I'm going to give a Starbury 3 so far a thumbs up from me. I think it's an amazing value. I don't understand shoes. I don't pretend to know Nike and all that kind of stuff. We talked about it at length. And I know this much. Me and Steve at least won't get attacked for our $15 Starbury 3s as we're walking.
You might.
Why? Why would I get attacked?
Wait till I'm in town, fool.
So how they fit? Steve's lacing them up. He's got it going. What's going on?
I haven't worn high tops in a long time.
So did you get your meaty digit?
How are they from a width standpoint?
These are 14. They feel pretty snug. So
okay. Well, in that, because sometimes I usually get 13. Sometimes I'll buy, like with Nikes, I'll buy a 14 because their wide width is not as wide as you'd like it to be. And so if you get a size up, it kind of helps.
Yeah, it gives that a little bit of room in there. Yeah.
14 and a half might be a little bit too much of a jump, but
yeah. Dude, but they're only $15, BV. At
some
point,
the thing. If you can get a few months out of those, it's worth it.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm just saying, like,
and it's not like you're going to be, banging them on the hard court on a daily
dude. I
basis.
don't know. I run hard in the paint, BB. I don't know what you're talking about.
Every time I play tennis with Holly, I'm going to wear these.
You break out those Starberries. I gotta tell you, I give it a thumbs up. $15. I don't know. They're no worse than like a knockoff pair at like Walmart or something, but I would argue I don't think they're any worse than like a brand new pair of Adidas or Nike or anything like that. I don't know.
My guess is they're probably similarly made.
I would assume it's the same manufacturing process and everything like that.
Probably better than a lot of the knockoffs.
Yeah, I don't know. So we're going to check them out tomorrow. Steve's lacing them up. How's that feel, Steve? What do you got for... Give us some thoughts on how you got that feel going on. Those are 14 and a half.
They're not as comfortable as my Adidas, but my Adidas are designed for fat feet.
Yeah, they're extra wides as they're like a triple E or whatever that is.
But they're not bad.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. The new hoop shoe. BV got a nice one in behind it on the background. He's got a little blue and red. They didn't have that one in stock. They only had the slate and the crimson white. Look at Steve. Lean it back. Show the ladies the crimson and white Starbury threes.
Oh man.
Oh, look at
Tell you
that.
what, man, $15, I might buy a pair of 14 and a half to just see if I can make them work.
Yeah, dude, wear a big pair of socks, BB. I'm just saying.
Yeah, seriously.
The official shoe of Fat Guys in a Little Podcast, Starbury threes. Let me put that profile up there. Get that up there for the video. Anyone checking it
To be
on
honest,
YouTube.
I think
Oh,
yours
well,
looks
that's-
better than mine.
Looking at that the slate one, that's really a pretty good looking shoe.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
red and whites look a little Ronald McDonald,
Well, but
yours look a little better.
Steve, I gave Steve the option. He swore up and down Holly wanted the crimson. Holly told him
Holly's
point.
thinking crimson, so
Yeah.
what the hell?
And see, the ones that you have, Charles, the slate ones look like ones people would actually buy in a store. And the ones that Steve has look like the ones that would be like assigned to a basketball team, like a high school
team
basketball
colors.
team.
Yeah,
It'd be
yeah,
team colors, yeah.
yeah. But I don't know,
That's
man.
nice looking.
I'm just saying for $15, man.
Well,
you
this way, if
can't
I
go-
buy a pair, it's going to be the slate ones.
Yeah, dude. Pick up the official shoe of Fat Guys in a Little Podcast. It's even if, to Steve's point, even if they blow apart on us tomorrow, they're $15, man. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, Zion blew apart enough. Steve can't get his foot up high enough to show people.
For all of you fans,
There you
of
go.
the official,
Yeah,
the
I'm
official shoe of
telling
the
you, man.
podcast.
Yeah, dude.
It
We're
is
hooping.
www.starberry.com.
Yeah, and you can get like phone chargers there and everything. It was a really funny website. It was just like the most Chinese. It was really weird.
It's your Starberry phone.
Dude, crazy. They got
For like
bills
the
to
It's a
pay.
iPhone
phone charger
4.
podcast.
I'm telling you. But all I'm saying is don't kill anyone over a pair of Nikes. Get yourself some Starbury threes. Support the podcast. I don't know. I love it. We're hooping in them tomorrow. Me and Steve
I
are
mean,
going
they are
to
kind of comfortable.
Are you guys going to hoop?
We're hooping
Yeah.
tomorrow. Dude, we're
Nice.
Get
going.
Holly with us too.
Yeah. We're testing them, dude. I'm going to put them hard in the paint like we just talked about. I'm telling you.
I want to see video of fools cramming shit. I'll be like,
Yeah, dude. It's all about them shoes, man. Can't wait. So anyway, big thumbs up.
Dunking with Starberries tomorrow. That's all I'm saying.
Starberry threes. Get them while they're hot. They only have like 2 sizes available. Make them work, BB. Do what you
One
can
of them's
do.
14 and a half. Why would they have 14
Yeah, it was like
and a half?
11, 14 and a half, and 15, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I was like 14
For
and a half.
14s, they don't feel very long. Like my toes near the top.
Oh,
and I
yeah?
know I usually wear a 13, so their sizes might be a little off. But a 14 and a half, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, what do you think, Steve? Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think of the Starberry threes? What's your first initial impressions?
For $15, big thumbs up.
Yeah, I mean, you can't
If I
go.
pay $80, I'd be like, I don't know about this, bro. But I haven't worn high tops in ages, so I don't know.
Even Charles wouldn't have bought them if they were $80.
No way. No way at all. Yeah. But, I mean, dude, it just goes to prove the point. I would argue that they're off the same line in Wuhan or whatever. So that's my point. You know what I mean? Like, it's a good value. So now, the other thing I just want to talk about, it wasn't really an unboxing because I already went through it, but I got the first piece. So as we stream on Skype, I've got what's called an ATEM Mini Pro. So what this is going to do, we're going to be able to see all these fine folks that are watching us on Facebook and all that kind of stuff. As we get back into studio time and as the world kind of gets back to normal, we're going to actually be able to do a multicam shoot and stream that out. So what that means is the 3 cameras that I picked up plus a BV on Skype or, you know, my computer or something like that, we can flip back and forth between all those HDMI inputs. And then the ATEM Mini Pro allows us to stream out without the PC. So this is going to be all just based on this piece of hardware here, and we're going to be able to stream that out. And that's going to be kind of our stream overhaul that we're dealing with here on the show. And that's what kind of me and Steve were talking about, how we're going to change some things. We love the Mevo product. The only thing is with the way that my room lays out, it doesn't really work in all setups. So we're trying to get like a few more cameras, and then as BV continues to be on the show, we can patch him in through a Skype look and all that kind of stuff off my computer. So that's Stream 2.0, but that's the ATEM Mini Pro. It's a $600 item. It's definitely not for the average person. You know what I mean? It's someone who's committed like me and Steve are to the art of podcasting. You know what I mean? Like, you definitely want to get that. But yeah, 4 HDMI inputs on it and everything, and we're going to put it through its paces. And we'll be able to talk a little bit later as we get that up and running. It'll do the little logos in the corner and all that kind of stuff like OBS, except it does it outside of the computer. So I'll no longer have to use my computer for the stream setup. So anyway, that's the Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro, is something we just got for the show. So I want to talk about that today.
All right. So we're going to rock the... By the way, I saw on the Starbury website, you can get a glow-in-the-dark basketball.
Now we're talking.
The ball lights up as you play. So
how much is it?
Different. $35.
$35. That's atrocious on Starbury's website. How dare they?
The most expensive one.
Yeah, what the
All
heck?
right. Charles, show them the Pringles we got.
Yeah, so when I dropped off Steve's pair of Starberries, Steve said that Michelle picked up some funky Pringles for us today that he wanted to try for the podcast here. These are Pringle Wavies, Applewood smoked cheddar.
Bill found them.
Yeah.
I found a picture of them, but these Pringles were not on the show notes this morning when I went to go get the put in my background.
Yeah, so this was kind of an improvised thing Steve did. So did you keep some there? What do you got there, Steve? So
yeah, I got them.
Okay.
I kept a bag.
Okay.
They are funky.
Okay, Michelle rang in with her 2 cents. What was Michelle's initial impression? What did she say?
She said they're funky.
Funky. Okay. They got like too much of a smoke flavor. What's her critique? Tell her to come in and let us know.
Why didn't you like them?
They're gross.
What's gross about them?
I don't know how and I didn't like them.
What are you, 5? They're gross.
They're icky.
What great input there.
Yeah, thank you for
It's
that.
gross.
That was a
I don't like 'em.
well-rounded review. I got to tell you, I'm on Team Michelle with these. They got a weird tasting cheddar on them. So they're going for the smoked thing, but like it almost kills the cheddar flavor to them. It's a weird over.
If they killed the smoke, these would be good chips.
Mm-hmm.
But then they would just be cheddar applewood or whatever. It wouldn't be smoked, I guess.
Yeah, I much prefer just a regular barbecue chip. I'm not a fan of that one. That one's a swing and a miss for me. Not terrible. I mean, it's not. We've had some gross things on this show by all means, but like, if I'm in the store, would I recommend to someone get the Applewood smoked cheddar Pringles? I'm gonna say skip those. Get something barbecue or something.
Or regular cheddar.
Yeah, it's like a weird extra smoky cheddar chip. It's a really weird. It kills the cheddarness of it. It's a really weird. Yeah.
So that chip was 0 for 4. Holly didn't like it. Michelle didn't like it. I didn't like it. And neither did you.
No.
So 0 for 4.
That's a bad
on the
flavor
Pringles.
from Pringle. Yeah, usually Pringles are really delicious. I pound a tube of Pringles in a heartbeat, but yeah, I'm gonna no on that.
So notwithstanding the flavor, is there any real difference in the way that the taste is from the texture of the chip with the wavy?
It's a little thicker, I would argue. I think it's a thicker type of chip, the crisp, if you will, because they're not chips. They're crisps because they can't call them chips because they're like weird pressed potato flakes or whatever when it comes to Pringles. But yeah, I don't know. It's a little thicker. That's not the issue. That's a pretty tasty. I would argue in a barbecue flavor that would taste pretty good. Like if you got like a barbecue saucy type flavor. But from the cheddar perspective, that is no bueno. It's like someone, I don't know, smoked a pack of Marlboros on top of your cheddar cheese. Yeah.
They didn't keep those.
Yeah. I'm a pass on that.
All right, big thumbs down. So the Starberries are good. The chips, not so good.
Yeah. Stick to the $15 shoes. Instead of buying the $1.50 tube of Pringles, put it towards your $15 shoes.
Yeah, save it for your shoes. All right, so now we're going to get into our meat and potatoes, the movies and the shows we've watched this week. Looks like I'm the only one to watch some stuff. There's a couple of them on here. But now, last week I told you guys I started up on the Hulu. And the one, I had a surprise show that I didn't think was going to be any good. And I ended up watching it, and I kind of liked it. It's the Shrill. It's on Hulu. This is the girl from Saturday Night Live. She's got a weird
Bryant
name.
is her name.
80 Bryant, chubby girl. And it's just her life in Portland, and it's kind of like how everyone backhandedly calls her fat throughout life and stuff like that. And it's kind of interesting take. Now, is it the greatest show or funny, super funny in the world? No. But 6 episodes, a half hour, I enjoyed the show. I was quite surprised. It's usually something I would look at for 2 seconds and just disown and walk away. But It's good. I don't know what to really say much about that. It's a lot of passive. So she's a fat girl making it through life, and just like I'm a fat guy, and
Steve can relate as two
well, you
fat
can
girls.
relate if you're fat. Even though I can't relate quite as much. She's.
I got a weird
like
aftertaste on that extra smokiness. That is
Oh, yeah, I know.
weird. Yeah.
It's
Oof,
still in my throat.
Dude, that is way too much smoke on that. It's like got the bitter extra mesquite. Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to derail.
So, and I think Hulu's a lot like Netflix, where a decent show on Hulu is probably still not as good as like on HBO or something like that. So I would give it a solid 6, I would say. Now, there's 2 seasons. I only made it to the first season so far. And I did enjoy it. She's got a loser boyfriend. She's got just all kinds of things. And it's a comedy, but it's not an over-the-top comedy that's going to make you laugh hard. If you like Mike and Molly, I guess you'd probably like this show, would be my guess. I don't know. I didn't watch Mike and Molly much. But, yeah, it's decent. It's not – I had very low expectations that came in and kind of interesting. Now, the Pen 15 will be for next week. I'm still working through that with that awkward thing.
I enjoy that show.
So that's coming next. And we're still chugging along in Hulu. Holly's still in love with some of the stuff, and Michelle's watched a lot of stuff, so we're getting
There's like a bad teen drama coming out in June. Is that what she wanted to watch? It was like a weird, like, The Notebook, but like a series. It looked terrible. It was coming out in June, and I was like, oh, geez, that must be what Holly wants to watch.
She's got a laundry list of stuff, so I couldn't tell you. Now, next up, I finally rented, because Family Video's back open, The Way Back with Ben Affleck. This is the one where he's
bucked the coronavirus just to go to Family Video.
Yeah.
Steve's willing to risk infection with his diabetes. He doesn't care. I need cheap Blu-rays.
Coronavirus.
Yeah, forget it. Dude, take my $2 rental. I need to go.
I saved $4 when I read on Voodoo. It's $6.
Oh my
it's like $2 at the Family Video. But I watched the movie. It's your kind of your.
It looked good. It looked really good.
It's not great. It's your it's your general sports movie, right? He's down on his luck. They kind of suck. They get together. He takes them to the playoffs. I'll give it credit, though, because it doesn't end the way you think it's going to end. And I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who wants to see it, but it's got a different ending than what most sports movies have. So that's kind of nice. And it's not – his life is crap, and it just gets more crap as they so,
there's no redemption on it. It's just literally just a slice of life, and then keep it moving.
Yeah, but he gets a little redemption. But at the same time – wow. It's like if they can write another negative thing for this guy to happen to him, it's like it starts here, it goes down here and down here. So
is Ben Affleck at this point like a victim of his own personal life? You know what I mean? Like, because I enjoy the movies that he's in and stuff like that. And like when he's in a movie, you're like, I got no issue with Ben Affleck, but like, do you think his personal life is just encroached on his professional life at this point? Is that what we're?
I think there's certain people that have. Yeah. He's one of them. Tom Cruise is another one. Jennifer Lopez is another one.
Yeah.
So yeah, certain people, it's like it's hard to. But he's done a lot of good movies.
Yeah,
recently,
that's
right?
the issue, right?
And Argo, and even as Batman in those recent movies, he was pretty good. It's just the movies weren't that good. So, but The Way Back, I give this a 7. Michelle hated it. She didn't like it at all. 1, it was sports, and 2, it was very, down. It wasn't a very positive movie. So, but I give it a 7. Shrill is 6. Both of them worth watching if you get a chance and catch it. If you don't want to fight coronavirus and it comes on cable, maybe
you don't want to go to Family Video for it.
No, don't risk your life to save $2.
Now the next up, this is another one of those young adult books in the vein of Harry Potter / Hunger Games. I thought my wife read these books.
Which is the Wardrobe or whatever that is.
Yeah. Lion Witch the Wardrobe, Narnia,
dude, all these movies.
Ender's Game. So Disney is dying for a Harry Potter. They are dying for a Harry Potter type series. They've got the Star Wars. They've got a laundry list of other ones, but the one they can't crack is that Harry Potter chemical or quotient. Yeah, formula. I'm sorry. And they tried it with this one, and they didn't come close. When you're watching a movie and you wish you were watching Harry Potter, and I don't even like Harry Potter. That tells you. Now, here's the funny thing. I didn't read the books, neither did Michelle, but I read, before going into this, I wanted a little back, I went to the Wikipedia page.
I just thought of another one. What about that Percy Jackson movie? That one tanked, too, didn't it?
Another one, yeah. And So in the books, I guess, according to Wikipedia, the main kid is kind of a criminal mastermind, which that's kind of a neat twist, right? So
I'm
instead
not
of being,
into this at all. I'm with you. I'm not into Harry Potter. I'm not into any of these
Yeah.
like 10-year-old kids, and like I'm just not into them. Go
well,
ahead.
here's the thing: the Wikipedia made it sound kind of clever, but the movie changed from the book, and he's just another Harry Potter 101. He's the chosen one. He's gonna do. It's terrible. The whole thing. There's some nice CG here and there. It's like that Hellboy movie though, where some CG is great and other CG is like, ugh, this looks terrible.
Really up and down on it. Yeah.
Yes. And the only highlight of the movie, Josh Gad. You're familiar with him, right?
He's the
He's
Olaf, right? He's the snowman.
Yeah, he plays a dwarf in this. He's got a long beard and long hair, and he looks just like Tyler. So that's the only highlight of the movie. There's Tyler, the caveman's in this. So this is like a 3 out of 10. Even Michelle hated it. It was just very generic. It was not good. They're trying for Harry Potter, and they failed miserably so far quite a bit. And now the next one we were excited for, I didn't get the whole season done. I got the first 6 episodes done.
Okay, so I'm in line with you, exactly. So I got through 6 episodes of season 4 of F is for Family, the Bill Burr vehicle. It's about me in the 70s. It's really a great show. I'll
put you in that fucking wall.
Oh, my God. Like, I do have to admit this season they went a little over the top with the dad drama a little bit for me.
They clung a little too much on
they could have dialed that back, and then you could see that they were finally going to like bridge a gap and then fall apart again. You could kind of see that stuff, but like this show's a gem. I don't know how else to explain it to people. Like, it is just so fun, and the way that he is just so irate at everything in the world is so funny. And then his boss got like the weird surgery, and he comes back all melted and gross. It's just funny, man.
He had a heart attack. Yeah,
dude, Bill Burr tickles me, and this show's great. BV, you catch the show at all?
I haven't seen it yet, but I will.
Man. I think it would get you big time. It is super funny. I also, the Vic stuff was really funny this season where he's 30, but he's out of touch.
Yeah, they made him do the oldies. Yeah. He's the oldies DJ.
Dude,
I love that gag where he comes into the young kids and he goes, "I'm going to ride you guys hard." The one kid just
Yeah,
pulls his
all
pants
right,
down,
then.
like, "I'll take it first."
No, not sex, idiot. Yeah. It's funny, man. I don't know. That show just gets me, man. I don't know how else to describe it. I give that show like an 8 every time. Like
it's solid. He only knocks a little too much dwelling on the dad issues. Yeah. That's a little too much, but other than that, it's pretty solid. His father is played by Mike off of Breaking Bad.
Is that who that is? Okay.
Yeah, and his father-in-law is Red off of the 70s.
Yeah,
show.
I picked up Kurtwood Smith. Yeah, I picked up on that. Yeah, when they were comparing how terrible their dads were and stuff like that. That show's so funny, man.
And did you know Kevin is Justin Long, the guy from the kid from Dodgeball?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I didn't know that one. I'll be honest.
Yeah, so they got a lot of people in this.
Yeah, great show.
The only thing I don't know, what are they doing with Goober? He just walks around to people's houses.
He's like a creepy dude. That's the other thing too.
He had one of the best lines where the kid comes home and he's at Bill Burr's house for some reason. He goes, "A bear broke in and clogged your toilet." And he walks away.
It's just so funny, man. That show's great, man. He's so ornery and so funny. The one episode where they followed the alderman, the Rosie guy, and all that stuff too was really good. Oh my God, that show's great. F is for Family on Netflix, man. It's the 4th season. It's a Bill Burr vehicle. If you like Bill Burr stand up and like his curmudgeon-y take on life, man, it's great. I love this show.
Yeah, so big thumbs up for F is for Family. I got to finish that probably tonight or tomorrow. Now, which one of you guys watched Bruce Lee, the 30 for 30 Be Water?
I did. I watched this. BV, did you catch this at all too, by chance?
I did.
Yeah, so ESPN is bankrupt for content because there's no sports. You know, you're going to see me later. They had an American log press record happen on ESPN too because they're dying for sports right now. So they pumped out a 30 for 30 about Bruce Lee called Be Water. And me and BV have kind of chronicled on this show. We typically like 30 for 30s. I got to tell you, this one, the way that they told the story on this one kind of frustrated me. BV, did you have any of that experience?
Yeah. They focused way too much on his sort of acting career
and they weirdly like flipped around too much too. And then they're also one of the things that a good documentary is. So when we go and we want to talk about BV and we have Steve sitting in a room with a 3-light setup and he'll talk about it. And he'll go, oh, this one time, and he'll tell the story. And then maybe you show pictures or some kind of interactive, you know. This one, they didn't show any of the people basically over talked or like, you know, narrated the whole 30 for 30, and you didn't see any of the people. It was all just like cut in with his movie stuff and then with home video stuff. It was really a frustrating. They didn't go enough into his martial arts, I thought. Like that kind of frustrating.
Close.
Yeah, this was a bad 30 for 30, and it goes to show you that like there's multiple people that direct these 30 for 30s too. So like they must farm them out to like different directors, and there's not a standard formula. And again, usually me and BV are in here singing the praises on these 30 for 30s, but I got to tell you, B Water from Bruce Lee 30 for 30 is a no-go for me. I don't know if BV has a different opinion.
No, agreed completely. In fact, I was really looking forward to this in the last few years. This actually came from one of my YouTube
rabbit holes. Yeah.
Rabbit holes. Yeah. So I started just kind of flipping on. I was watching Bruce Lee. Well, I ended up watching his 4 films, and
which are all on HBO Max, by the way, in case anyone's wondering.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
A lot of them are on
I haven't tried
HBO
HBO
Max.
Max yet.
A lot of kooky like movies are on there, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later as Steve gets into his animation corner.
Yeah, I'd become kind of a fan of Bruce Lee like way after the fact, and I was hoping that they were going to focus more on his kung fu style and his
philosophy stuff too. They didn't touch too much of his philosophy stuff.
Because he made a point, probably more so than any other martial artist I've ever heard of, to avoid sort of focusing on a style. It had a very sort of like an eclectic look at the way, you know, martial art should be practiced and how you could. And part of it was just to see if there was any chronicling on how talented he truly was, because he'll hear stories, and I've seen, you know, interviews with people on YouTube that have, you know, back when he was, you know, doing his movies and whatnot, that had, you know, encounters with him, and they would just, you know, sing his praises like he's literally the greatest martial artist in history. And
but they
just
didn't,
kind of
again,
over something.
yeah. In the 30 for 30, they didn't dig deep enough. Yeah, kind of.
No, and they focused what little they focused on his martial arts was direct. Like half of that was directed on how he became like a you
teacher.
know, sort of. Well, but a teacher to the stars.
Yeah. The
And
Hollywood
sort of
angle
like
again. Yeah.
And it's just, they completely missed the point to me.
Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, it was just half the time you didn't know who was speaking, and then at the very end of the movie,
everyone
they
who
went
they
back.
had,
They would pop someone's name up, and then they would show you everybody's faces once. And other than like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
you didn't know
maybe
who
one or
was
two
who.
other
Yeah,
people, I had no idea who the hell these people were.
Exactly. Frustrating form of storytelling, I would argue.
I also was a little surprised that they didn't bring Chuck Norris in on this, because apparently they did have my understanding is they had a pretty close relationship at one point. And I think
that was too much martial arts, apparently, and they didn't.
Apparently, yeah, because he would have had a lot of interesting things to add to the.
They also didn't talk much about Brandon Lee, his son, and all that kind of stuff. They didn't go into any of that. It was really a frustrating documentary, and I know Steve will press me on it. I'd give it like a 4 and out of 10. Like, I mean, I'm hard pressed to do that. BB.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to begrudgingly give it a 5. But I wouldn't argue with a 4 either.
There's so many better 30 for 30s that are out there, is what I would say, and that's one of the things that frustrated me, because the pedigree of of those shows is just so amazing. And to see this one now, there's a new one coming on tonight that I want to watch. It's about the Sosa McGuire stuff.
Yeah,
and that summer where they chased Maris's record. I can't wait to watch that one too. But I hope it goes back to the traditional format and not the new style.
Yeah, and the thing is that if you take the two of them, if Bruce Lee's video or documentary was done right, it should probably be one of the 4 or 5 most interesting documentaries that they've ever done. And instead, it's just completely did it no justice. And this story about about McGuire and Sosa, which is interesting, but should be nowhere near to the level of a well done Bruce Lee documentary, will probably blow it out of the water. Did you watch
Hopefully
any
they
of the
got Sammy Sosa in his current edition, like how he
with his,
currently
bleached
looks.
skin
Please tell me Sammy Sosa's in that mug just so I can look at him and go, oh!
Isn't he married to Lucille Ball right now?
Yeah, he's weird.
There was also a two-parter about Lance Armstrong that was out a couple weeks ago, and I've DVR'd it but haven't watched it yet.
The best one of that kind of doping is Icarus. That on Netflix, that's an amazing. If you want to know about like Olympic team and like that whole Lance Armstrong stuff, watch Icarus. That is an amazing documentary. Holy cow. That's about like the whole Russian doping in Sochi and everything. Oh my God. But anyway, we got derailed. 30 for 30. The Bruce Lee B Water was kind of a pooper.
So let me ask you guys a question now that you both watched this and you apparently both have a little bit of history about Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Oh. If Bruce Lee was alive in his prime right now and he fought in the UFC, how good does he do?
He would get smoked because he is a karate expert. You know what I mean? Like he is not, to BV's point, he definitely was a sponge in all disciplines. I don't want to say that he wouldn't have adapted, but all I'm going to say is I would bet you he would not have aged well. It would have been bad. Like, no way.
And presumably though, if he had been in this time, his style would have been, he probably would have gotten into say jiu-jitsu and for his weight class and all that, he'd probably have a stretch where he'd be really formidable, but as soon as his speed started to go, he'd be easy pickings for people right now.
He's way too much into strikes, dude. Some Khabib would bend his leg around his head to choke him the hell out. I'm telling you right now.
I wonder if he'd be too much like a Lyoto Machida or something, maybe a higher level of that, but who had some success. But
what do you think he weighs? About 130 pounds, probably.
Yeah,
I think
he's not a big dude.
140 at the most. Yeah,
he'd be like a bantamweight.
But there was like a big section on like the Green Hornet stuff and how he played Kato and like it was a big section of it. I mean, I'm like, because it got canceled and stuff, and it's just super frustrating.
It's like they wanted to focus on his film career.
Yeah.
But then they spent more time filming on his relatively unsuccessful television career in the U.S. than they did his movie career. It's like his movies were like an afterthought at the very end.
So there we go. The Shrill was a decent show that surprised me at a 6. The Way Back is pretty good. That's a 7. Artemis Fowl's a turd at a 3. F is for Family is always good. Charles and I both love it at an 8. And surprisingly, Bruce Lee's 30 for 30 B Water, 4 and a 5 from Bill and Charles. Both very lukewarm on that one, which is a bummer. But there is a lot of Bruce Lee content out there. There's movies and documentaries you can find all over the place on him. So even if the 30 and 30 wasn't good, I'm pretty sure you can find something else. All right, now back to our new segment from last week, Steve's Animation Corner. I don't know what I'm going to pull out next week, but I have an idea. But this week, I finished up the Looney Tunes on HBO Max.
He's teasing it. Tune in. I know BV will be here next week for episode 102 for Steve's Animation Corner.
And I gotta tell you, it's 10 episodes. They're about 12 to 15 minutes long each one on HBO Max. In their defense, it's one of the better things to watch on HBO Max that you probably haven't seen. They're good. They're solid. They really hark
Did
back
the changes
to the old
annoy
ones.
you? Because I know Elmer Fudd no longer has a gun.
No. Well,
and
here's the thing.
stuff.
About 10 years ago on Cartoon Network, they released a new Warner Brothers Looney Tunes. I don't know if you guys remember this. They redesigned Bugs and Daffy a little bit, for all of them, and they had a season on Cartoon Network. I believe it was Cartoon Network. And they removed Elmer Fudd's gun then, and that was 2010. So I don't
want to derail Steve's Animation Corner. Did you guys see the fact of what Toucan Sam looks like right now? I'm like so appalled that Fruit Loops has changed Toucan Sam, and it just looks atrocious to me. I can't take it. And every time Lorna's like, I like it. I'm like, I hate you more and more every day. I hate. Anyway, to your point, Steve.
Well, there are some minor things on this new show. Well, first let me get to the positive. It's very similar to the old ones. Daffy is just a crazy duck that just does everything. He's in a lot of them with Porky. It's him and Porky. And Bugs is usually with Yosemite Sam or Elmer Fudd. Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner show up. And it's all pretty good. You know, it's zany, it's Looney Tunes, it's what you expect. Here's my couple knocks I don't like. One, they changed all their gloves to yellow. And I don't know why. And it just drives you bananas as soon as you see it. It's almost like someone colored it in a coloring book and colored the wrong color intentionally. Bugs' gloves are yellow. Porky wears gloves on some episodes. They're yellow. It's like, why are their gloves yellow?
It's a weird style choice that drives you nuts.
Yeah. So that's one. Of course, the voices aren't Mel Blanc anymore, but they're pretty close. And then there were some omissions. So there was no Pepe Le Pew. I don't know if they're saving him for the next season.
I don't know. The Me Too movement, though, Steve. I don't
He's a
know.
rapist.
Yeah.
Oh, no Foghorn Leghorn either. No Barnyard Dog.
Oh.
The Foghorn Leghorn could be considered like an old white racist kind of guy you remember back in the day. I don't know. I don't know if that's the reasoning behind it, but he's not in it.
Is Sylvester in it?
Yes. Tweety and Sylvester are in it. Pretty much everyone else is in it. Marvin the Martian shows up. You don't get Daffy Duck as Duck Dodgers in the 21st and a half century. You don't get that. But you get the sheepdog and the Wally Lee with a punch in.
Wow, that's cool.
I mean, it's the best thing on HBO Max to me. I don't see anything better right now on HBO Max that I haven't seen already. So I liked it. It makes you feel young again. And it's not very long, 10 episodes, like I said, 15 minutes a pop. They're pretty quick. One of my favorites was Bugs was walking through the desert for whatever reason in Arizona, and Elmer Fudd had a house with a pool, and like Bugs kept jumping in his pool, and Elmer kept kicking him out. So they were fighting over the pool. That was very old school, but yeah, and there's no guns, right? Well, here's the funny thing about the no guns. So Yosemite Sam had one where he's in Russia, and he stays warm by wearing a big fur hat, and a big eagle steals his hat, so now he wants to skin Bugs to make a new hat out of him. He can't have a gun, but he has a razor sickle that he chases Bugs. So that it doesn't really make much sense there, but okay. But I liked them. I thought they were good. Now, my point is, now there's Space Jams 2 is coming out in a couple of years or next year. So you really need to promote these characters, right? To get the kids to get familiar with them again, right? I mean, does Lorna have any idea what Bugs in them are? Or is she excited over that?
I don't even think it's on her radar at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They got to start pumping out some stuff with these guys.
My daughter's way into Scooby. That's all my daughter knows is way too much into Scooby-Doo. It's weird.
Well, Scooby's Warner Brothers too, so they need to cross-promote with the Looney Tunes if they're going to make some money on this. Not that anyone.
It's kind of a relic now.
I
think Looney Tunes is kind of a relic now.
Yeah, but they're putting out a new movie with LeBron James in a year, so you think they're going to... we'll see what they do. Now, Charles is putting some notes down here on HBO Go and Max to go along with this.
Yeah, so apparently, and this just came out in the news today, or this past week or whatever, so HBO Go and HBO Now, those apps are going away. So I migrated all of my Apple TVs over to, or HBO Now and Go are going away. So I migrated them over to the Max app on my iTunes or on my Apple TVs, as we've discussed here in the past. I got Apple TVs everywhere. But you can't get the HBO Max on the Fire Stick, the new Fire Stick I talked to you guys about last week. There's no Max app on that one, at least not yet. I don't know if there's any beef.
There's not one for Roku either.
There's not. So, yeah. So, I don't know. It's a weird... They might be... Because it is a weird, like, splintering, if you will. Like, I don't know. It's confusing. Like... I wasn't sure what I got because I subscribed to HBO, or did you have to buy it separately, or you know what I mean? Like it was a really kind of poorly executed rollout, I would say, and that's
it really was.
And I think that they are not doing themselves any favors with that terrible rollout, and that's still lending itself to be kind of confusing. So.
I have a feeling the DC app is on the chopping block next. They're going to roll everything from that into HBO Max too.
Yeah, so I went through HBO Max. There's no Teen Titans Go in there. Like, so a lot of the stuff still has other streaming services have the rights to it. You know what I mean? Like, I keep saying you know what I mean, but like they a bunch of the shows are still belong to like other streaming services. So like we looked up Teen Titans Go because again, me and Lorna love that show. And you can't get it on the HBO Max app because Hulu has the exclusive streaming rights to it. And it's no telling. And then when I was reading another article, a bunch of the Batman movies are going to be going away off HBO Max.
Wonder Woman, the brand new Wonder Woman is going to be gone.
Yeah, it's
really weird. What the hell are they doing?
It's a really fumbled kind of rollout, I would say.
They should have waited a year, probably.
Yeah.
What they probably should have. I know they paid all that money for Friends, and they wanted to get that out there immediately.
Yeah. How much money did they pay for the Friends one? Does anyone know?
530 million or something like that.
Holy cow!
They paid a shitload for Friends.
Dude. It's crazy.
So that's Looney Tunes. Give it a try. You're not going to see Froghorn Leghorn, Pepe the Pew, or the Barnyard Dog, but you'll see everybody else, and you'll see no guns, but they'll have knives. So, okay. So there you go. Now, Bill, you're still cruising along on your new hobby of reading books, and it's time for BB's Book Report. What'd you read this week, Bill?
Well, for this week, I read Kobe Bryant's The Mamba Mentality, How I Play. And
was this about was this a biography, or is this more of his time as a player, or?
Well, it's not really a biography. It's more of a book where he tries to impart his knowledge on people
of the game of basketball, or how to be a go-getter or whatever.
Yeah, it's like throw a little bit of both. It's mostly, but it all centers around the game of basketball. So it's not like a general sort of my mentality on life, but I'm sure a lot of it's applicable. So there's like 3 parts, and the first one is, like a collection of letters that came from, apparently him and Pau Gasol were very close. Some letters from them, and then from Phil Jackson, and then there's a lot of different pictures that are shown. Like they put a lot of time into the photo portion of it. And then the next part is called Process, and he goes through like his post-game and pre-game rituals and different events. And
anything weird in that or notable?
He goes into real big detail about his preparation, and that like he decided that to be great he would give up sleep. And so enable for him to still be able to do other things in his life, he would get up very early and work out, or he'd work out really late at night. So his thought is that, if he worked out while his family was still asleep or after they'd gone to bed at night, that he would do like 3 2-hour workout sessions, one really early, one middle of the day, one really late at night. And then if he needed a nap throughout the day or whatever, at times he would. He went really deep into...
Wait, how many hours of sleep was he averaging then?
4?
It didn't really say. Well, yeah,
he's like
4 or
Donald
5.
Trump, dude. Yeah, it's crazy.
But he went into real kind of detail about his shoes, and so most people, when they were getting their signature shoes, would just want something that would look cool, whatever. And that he had done a lot of research and had realized that, look back at sort of something that players years ago would wear low tops, and that people with high tops would have so many issues with feet and ankles, and that high tops actually don't give you extra support. They create a crutch, and people get more injuries from that. So he had his shoe designed a particular way as a low top to.
Why didn't you tell me this before I bought my Starbury 3s? I would have got the low tops. I didn't know.
I hadn't read it when you had gotten your Starbury. So yeah, and he goes through, and then the last part was called craft, and he would talk about certain way, like how he would ways he would review film, and that how he would play certain people, and it was pretty interesting.
It sounds like that detail show in a book is what it sounds like.
Well, see, I'm glad you mentioned that, because the one part of the book that was kind of disappointing for me is I was never that big of a Kobe fan. I mean, I liked him, but there was always that big him and Shaq rift, and I was a Shaq fan, so I was always and I looked at Kobe for most of his career as being someone who just wanted to ball hog, shoot all the time.
Please refer to him as Big Daddy Diesel all the time when you call Shaq.
Okay. Shaq Diesel. But then I watched a number of those detail shows with him.
Show's great. ESPN
yeah,
Plus.
And he would go in. I mean, literally would. I see one where he's talking about. I can't remember. It was the Warriors, or where he would actually. I mean, he would go into like where they would, where at what point they would, bring the ball into the to the post, and at what angle, and how I'd like to see the ball, brought in another 2 or 3 feet down because it opens. I mean, he'd go into really tight detail on how things would open up cuts, and which, okay, I'm a sports nerd, so I get into that. And
but you also realize what makes some of these people so great by watching that show. The Peyton Manning ones and stuff like that is unbelievable.
I love the Peyton Manning.
Yeah, it's super great. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Ridiculous.
I'm derailing your book report.
It's like if Tony Romo was doing a game, but then actually had time to literally walk you through the entire play at the same time. And so this was, and it was kind of it was a quick read. It was only a little over 200 pages. And he would tell you there was some interesting information about how he played certain players and how, this, that. But I guess I was looking for a little bit more like hardcore sports nerd information. And he didn't really talk about any one thing for more than like a half a page or a page max. There was no, absolutely no like outside the game things. Like he didn't talk about any rift with him and Shaq. He didn't, I mean, the most, he would talk about that would give you any kind of appearance of that would be that, he talked about, I don't know if you would recall this guy, Ruben Patterson, who declared himself the Kobe stopper. And they made a big deal of it in the playoffs at one point. And Kobe mentioned how this guy, he said, well, he was a friend of mine. If he had just let me know up front, hey, I'm going to say this so I can get it, because I guess he was trying to get a big contract. Say, hey, I'm going to say this, let me get my money. He would have understood. But because he just did it, Kobe, had to make it his point to bust his ass every time he played him. But in the points where he does go into the details, like he goes the very first part of that craft part, he talks about the first time he played against Jordan, and he talks about how like he just it shows a picture, and it has Kobe kind of bent over, kind of with his upper body kind of on like a 45-degree angle, and Jordan kind of standing with his like base and his straight up. And he just talked about how that one straightening of his upper body and the position gave him the ability to do things that would be basically unguardable because he didn't have to waste any movements. So from that standpoint, it was interesting. I just kind of wanted a little bit more. I mean, if he would have put out like a 500 or 600 page book where he goes into real hardcore detail, like on how the triangle works and how to manipulate that, because apparently he knew it inside and out. That to me would have been awesome. But for what it was good. I'd probably, if I'm rating it, I'd probably give it about a 6.
All right. Do you want to tease? You want to tease some books from next week, or?
I haven't decided for next week yet. Because I think I'm going to read something, because the other stuff that I've read so far kind of is in that whole sports or entertainment line. I think I'm going to do something a little bit outside of that.
Oh man!
So I'll
the history of woodworking.
I don't find that interesting, but that's what you guys want to hear about.
The more obscure, the better, is what me and Steve were talking about earlier in the week.
The more obscure? Yeah. Okay.
So Kobe Bryant, the Mamba mentality. Now, how many years ago did that come out, though?
I want to say it was 2018.
Oh, not that long ago. So
it was right after, and not too long after he retired. So
a lot of look into Kobe's preparation and how he handles things. So this week we got what to watch. We got 3 little things coming up this week. One I did watch, so I really enjoy it. So What We Do in the Shadows, season finale of season 2. That came out on FX this week. I watched it, loved it. Something about that show really cracks me up.
What is the show? One more time. I don't know what that.
What We Do in the Shadows. It's these 4 vampires, and it's a comedy show on FX.
Okay.
Half hour long. They're the most idiot vampires you ever met in your life. One's an energy vampire who just by talking to you makes you all tired, and that's how he gets his energy. So he's like an office worker all the time. But anyways, the season finale of that this week. I watched it. Big thumbs up. Anyone else care to watch What We Do in the Shadows?
It sounds like I got to check it out. I believe you've told me about it before in the past, but it's just one of those things I haven't caught yet. I got to check it out.
Yeah.
Sounds like
it's on Hulu, I'm pretty sure. So if you have Hulu, you can see it there.
It was an FX show, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I like it a lot. I just for some reason it's funny. It's just quirky. I like it. So the next one this week, Crossing Swords. This is from the guys who make Robot Chicken. I've seen the previews for this. They look like little Fisher Price people, but they cuss like South Park. So
it's like Playmobil people or whatever.
Yes, South Park meets Fisher Price. I haven't watched it yet. I'm probably going to watch it with my wife. Looks pretty interesting. I'll probably be a yes. Anything you guys are interested in there?
Yeah, I'd probably check it out too, because in the same vein, like I remember seeing the trailer for it and was like, oh, what's going on here? So, yeah, I definitely check it out too.
And Bill?
I don't have Hulu, so otherwise I probably would.
Yeah, it's a Hulu exclusive. Now Netflix is releasing Bill's favorite. I put him on here. Mr. Iglesias Part 2. So I guess it's the second season of his bad sitcom. Gabriel Iglesias, right? The actor Fluffy is in almost as bad as the Big Show. I'm a big no on this one. I tried to watch it. It made my head hurt. Charles or Bill?
Not a fan of Gabriel Iglesias. Not a fan. BV?
I watched the first season. It wasn't very good. However, I'm married to a huge fan of Fluffy, so I will probably end up watching this season too. But I'm not looking forward to it.
Sorry for your loss.
I don't mind him. That show's bad though. The show is
it's a really just bad and
generic,
cheesy
terrible.
premise. Yeah, it's not good.
So that's going to wrap it up for what's new this week. Not a lot, but there we go. And then now this week, Charles, people getting punched in the face. And the big reveal is where Fight Island is. Tell the world where
so
Fight Island
I can
is.
tell you where Fight Island. Let me tickle you with a feather here. Let me go through what. So we had a fight night on ESPN. BB, did you watch it at all? It was live.
I did not. No, I didn't.
ESPN, Jessica I lost to Cynthia Calvillo. It was a decent card. A bunch of kind of no names. Yeah, Steve's not into his chick fighting. Went to a decision. A lot of first round KOs though on that card. I was kind of shocked by a handful of them that ended pretty quickly. But that again was at the UFC APEX. Next weekend, they've got Curtis Razor Blaydes is fighting Alexander Volkov, who sounds like an 80s wrestler.
He's got to come out and sing the
that
Russian
Nikolai's
national anthem.
son.
Yeah, so they're
If he doesn't sing
fighting.
the national anthem, that's a missed opportunity. Russian national anthem. Yeah.
That is next Saturday at the Apex. That's at ESPN again. It looks like they're going to go most of them on ESPN because there's no content in ESPN, so ESPN's just putting them on their main network. It's crazy.
Great.
What'd you say? Great because you pay for ESPN Plus? Is that what that is?
No, great. Love it because I'm so starved for real TV. or real sports.
Have you been watching the Colonial or whatever? Have you been watching the golf tournament?
I watched a little bit of it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just anything, man. So I'll tell you about something random I watch here in a second. So again, July the 11th, UFC 251 is from Fight Island. And UFC Fight Island was revealed to be Yas Island in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. They've had some events there back in the day, and they've been. Yeah, it's a big push for it. So they're marketing it and stuff like that. It's pretty crazy. So UFC has been pretty friendly with Abu Dhabi and the United Arab Emirates for a while. So it makes sense that he probably called some sheik or something. I don't know how that works or whatever and got like a hookup. So they're able to quarantine fighters. They're able to give them facilities. They're going to roll out the red carpet, and it sounds like it's going to go. So it's going to be kind of crazy. I might need to get this UFC just to check it out. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I got that itch. I'm like, I might need to get that pay-per-view. So just be aware there might be an incoming randomness where we babble over the UFC event. And then the other thing, again, on ESPN2 this morning, Rob Kearney broke the American log. Yes, there it is.
This morning.
This morning broke the American log lifting record of 475 pounds or 215 kilograms, but he did not beat the world record, who is held by Zydrunas Savickas.
Zydrunas. I was hanging out with him.
Former world's strongest man.
Yes, exactly. BV knows him. If you know anything about World's Strongest Man, you know that name. He still holds it at 228 kilograms or right around 500 pounds, a little over 500 pounds. But the big thing is Rob Kearney, the guy who said openly gay. Steve loves to hear that. His homophobia is getting, he just doesn't want to talk about it. And then the other thing, too, is he's really a small guy relative to some of those other guys. He barely weighs like 290, whereas like a Brian Shaw, Zydrunas will weigh like 360, 370 all day. You know what I mean? Like, so he's a smaller guy to be able to do that, but he also does a different technique on the log, as they kind of discussed in this little thing. I like the fact that ESPN's showing some strongman stuff. You know I have a soft spot for it. If you listen to the show at any regular basis, you know.
Yeah, but you said this morning. So what time this morning was it on?
It was on 11, I want to say. It was.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't
I thought you
early
meant
morning. No,
I thought you meant like 6 a.m.
Was it live?
It was live. It was a live event. Zydrunas actually judged him remotely from his home country, like one of the Croat or like Eastern European country. Yeah, so cool little event. I'm into the strongman stuff, as we all know. It's very entertaining to me.
It is so fun to watch.
Yeah, it's great.
Love strong.
Yeah, so. And then, with him being openly gay, I had to bring it up just to annoy Steve. So, anyway.
Why would that annoy you?
Anyway, so that's what's going on. So, the big PlayStation reveal happened this week, Steve.
Wait, side note, right before that, how annoyed is ESPN that the NBA ain't coming out till like the end of July?
And a bunch of the players are really pushing back, man. I'm shocked by how many of them don't want to play and stuff.
Yeah, but ESPN was licking their chops from the beginning of July. Now it's gonna be like end of July.
I'm shocked. Are you guys a little taken aback by all these players that don't want to go and stuff, like big names and stuff?
Yeah, Kyrie Irving. And,
yeah. Was it Howard from Lakers and stuff like that?
Yeah, said he agreed, and they don't need us right now.
Jeez.
I mean,
well, maybe they're taking a note from the baseball players trying to hold out for more money. I don't know, but we'll see.
I don't think they have, because they played a good portion of the season. I don't think they'll have to take any cuts in the NBA.
Yeah, I don't know. Crazy.
So let's go on to what we know, and this is what I know. This is later in the show because I didn't want to bore anybody, but I love this stuff. Sony PlayStation had their press event. I didn't watch it live, but I watched it the very next day, all 3 hours of it. You can't watch it live because if you watch it the next day, you can fast forward to the stuff you don't care about. But let's get the thoughts. At this point, I think even Bill have seen the pictures. The PS5 is out there. The pictures are out there. Of course, no prices. Very still quiet on that front. What do you guys think of the look of the PS5? Bill, did you see it?
I didn't watch the video, but I did see some things on the news. It looks a little weird. I think I mentioned to you in chatting with you on Skype earlier in the week that I read that they're looking at the new Xbox PS5 battle as being the mini fridge versus the Wi-Fi router.
Yeah.
Apparently the PS5 looks like a Wi-Fi router. The little clips of video or whatever that they showed, I saw about a 30-second one for the Spider-Man video and a couple other photos, and it looks like it's extremely detailed. I'm sure it's like next step up. It's probably really awesome. But my whole thing, and the first thing that I asked you was, did they announce a price? And the longer they wait to announce a price tells me it's going to be really damn expensive.
Charles's camp. I'm telling you, Steve doesn't want to believe it. He's so funny. I thought the
If
design
it was going to
of it
be affordable, they would be telling you it was going to be affordable right now to build up. Yeah.
Well, the problem is that you could make the argument, to play devil's advocate, as I'm sure Steve would, that the Sony probably can't guarantee what kind of shipments and stuff. There's probably such a question mark on manufacturing right now. So not only is it a crazy spec piece of hardware, what is the manufacturing side based on the demand and all that kind of stuff? So I'm sure it's a very complex issue that, with world events and these unprecedented times, to be able to nail that kind of stuff down has got to be just crazy. But back to the point, I thought the look of it's really good. People are really harsh on it. I've always been a fan of Alienware stuff. I think it looks like an Alienware device, and I think those devices are pretty sweet looking. I don't know. I mean, Steve, you have an opinion on the look? I don't know. I
mean, who cares what it looks like, right? Really, I'm with Bill. It boils down to price. But at the same time, I just find it funny because I think it all looks nice. I like white. White's fine. But it kind of feels like they went back to the Xbox 360 look. And then Xbox tried to go to, I don't know, a mini fridge. I don't know what Xbox is doing. But it's just kind of funny. Instead of green, they swapped out blue. So they got white and blue instead of white and green. From,
let me ask a question, though, too. No one in this room, this digital room, as we will, but no one's bought a console based solely on what it looks like. You know what I mean?
No.
No one's ever said, I was going to get the new Xbox, but it's just a square box, and I don't know. It's like, what?
If it performs well, does it matter?
Yeah.
It
just gets shoved into a console or into an entertainment center.
My current PlayStation is a God of War one. It looks terrible, but I got a deal on it. So I don't care what they look like. I mean, that's so. The more important thing is the price, which they skip. But then the games, right? So
I was going to say, secondly, only to the games, and this is
now I put the highlights for me personally that I sat through. There was a lot. There was a lot of them. There was more than this.
But they were
Now-
mediocre, Steve. I mean, I don't know. Okay,
Um,
I'll let you go and do it.
I argue on a couple of them, but not many. So the first up was Horizon Zero Dawn came out a couple years ago on PS4. It's an apocalyptic world where this woman, she fights robotic dinosaurs.
Yep.
So obviously they're making a sequel to that
It
one.
was a big E3
Horizon
game a
2
couple years ago, too.
Yeah, Horizon 2 Forbidden West is coming. This is a no-brainer. Everyone knew this was coming. But I don't think see, the problem with this list, there's only like 2 games on this whole list that are coming out at launch. The rest all said 21 or 22. Now, I wonder if people realize that a lot of these games are not coming. But this one will be eventually. I was lukewarm on the Horizon. I know people love that game. I just killing dinosaur robots was fun for about a half hour. And then after that, it's like rinse and repeat. Whatever. Now, this one, of course, I'm the comic book nerd in me. I'm big on. Bill saw the previews for this one. Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. Basically, instead of Peter Parker, you're Miles Morales now. They've been pushing him for a while. He was in the in their Spider-Verse one. Looks great. Graphics and everything look great.
But that
I think it's coming out for
one
both
that just
first-
came out was a really good game. At what point
Oh,
are we? At what point are we just rinsing and repeating the Spider-Man games?
But the thing is, I think this is coming out for PS4 and PS5. So I'll just get the PS4 version
Yeah.
without buying the PS5.
I
Right?
was really bummed by the games.
Really?
I really was.
Now, the
Gran
next-
Turismo looked amazing, but you and I both know there's going to be no crashes, and then like Forza's past Gran Turismo at this point for what is an enjoyable car game.
To me, Gran Turismos are very beautiful, but they're boring. I'm sorry. I don't like the controls.
Yeah.
I've never liked the Gran
There's
Turismo
no
game.
fun in it. That Ratchet and Clank game could easily come out for PlayStation 4. The
I do like
Sackboy
Ratchet.
game could come out for PlayStation 4.
I think they all are. See, a lot of these games I think are coming out for both versions.
I was really underwhelmed. I don't know, man. I'll
Nothing
let you
blew
keep
me
doing
away.
it. Yeah, I don't know.
The NBA 2K1 basketball trailer was Zion, I think. He
With
was
the
in a
sweat.
court
yeah,
he's
great.
sweating very bad.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of meat sweats before he got out
Yeah.
there. Resident Evil, of course, they recycled that one. Sackboy.
But you know that's
it
not.
looks
Gonna,
like
is that going to be
they're-
exclusive? Is that Resident Evil going to be exclusive?
I highly doubt it.
Yeah. So what? I mean, what? I was really underwhelmed by the games.
Well, what were you anticipating, though?
Some
knew they were
kind of
gonna
like
keep going with the ones they had.
Okay, but so God of War, the last one was so revered and such a great game. So you have an opportunity to at least make that a launch title with no load times, or make, you know what I mean, like do something. Steve, I don't have the answers. I don't pretend to, but right now I'm going to tell everyone to buy an Xbox. I don't know, because the Game Pass stuff is a really great value.
But Xbox isn't going to have Gran Turismo, Ratchet and Clank, and Spider-Man, or Horizon.
Great.
All those games
None of
are-
those games are system sellers.
But they add up into your Xbox. You're going to tell everyone to buy. I can play all those on my PC I just got. So why would I
but
buy
a
the
PC costs how much money? A PC, you just paid $1,500 for that PC.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
don't know. I think that Game Pass is a great. Right now, if I'm young Charles, I'm young impressionable Charles, and I get one console, I gotta tell young impressionable Charles to get an Xbox. What do you guys have a different opinion going around this room?
I would say yeah. Because what first-party Xbox games are going to come out that you have? I mean, this list is primarily first-party, except for NBA and Resident Evil.
GTA 5. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah.
golly.
Ironically enough, that is the number 3 best-selling game of all time. Did
Sure,
you
and
know that?
you could get it on 17 consoles at this
Yeah,
point.
I just thought that was funny because I couldn't believe that they were promoting that. I was like, still?
Maybe you got something going
and
on?
Tetris.
Well, okay, so I'm not up to speed on all the new games and what's exclusive to Xbox and what's exclusive to PlayStation. But that to me is not the point, because one of the things that you said early on, Steve, in this review that concerns me is how they showed all these games that were going to come out, but a lot of them weren't coming out until 2021, 2022. So it makes me wonder, am I supposed to be excited about spending, and I'm still guessing probably minimum of about $700 for a new console that will have about as many new games available for a certain period of time as, I don't know, remember Sega Saturn?
Yeah.
It came out, we talked about how great the system was, and there was like 3 games you could get for it.
Yeah.
I mean, if all I can get is 2 or 3 games and maybe a handful of others that I either already have on PS or would already have on PS4 or could just buy on the system I already have, why on God's earth would I spend a whole buttload of money for a new system? Certainly not until there was like a legitimate, portfolio of games that were worth having.
I think
And if
that
I'm
Sony
if
will
buying
get
a
it
console
right.
and Xbox has more stuff.
But Sony will get it right. It just takes time. And right now, at this fall, the best value is a Series X. And they already came out and said that if you buy a game here, you can upgrade through. The Game Pass stuff I keep going back to. It's just...
Now, Xbox has come out and said any game made for the Xbox Series X will work on Xbox One X.
Yeah.
Xbox. Now, PlayStation hasn't said that, have they?
No. They're misstepping. Frustrating. I like a PlayStation console. I was very underwhelmed by this announcement and then like the state of their union. I'm just like the Sackboy thing, Steve. I mean, it looked like a PlayStation 4 game. You can tell me that can't come.
That looked like a PlayStation 3 game, I'll be honest with you.
I don't know.
Well, they'll tell you dynamic lighting and blah, 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 blah.
An extra layer of polish and probably a little less pop-in and stuff like that. But I don't know. Very underwhelmed by it. My only thing that I find funny is people aren't jumping on that. They're jumping on the fact that it looks like a router. It's like, like
what about the fact that the games
I am completely opposite. I don't think the look is that bad. I think the lineup is your issue.
Well, Xbox had a press conference not too long ago too, and none of their games looked all that great either. So it's like,
yeah,
it is what it is right now. So we'll find out. The real treasure will be those prices. Of course, as soon as we find out prices, we will talk about them.
Do you think one's waiting for the other to blink? You think the one
Yes.
is waiting? Yeah, is that what you think it is?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Once one comes out, the other one will.
Sorry, I would sit tight with the current console you have until both of these are fully developed and you have a whole set of games to play with. Until they, as Charles said, get it right. I'm not right. Well, I mean, I wouldn't do it anyway, but I wouldn't be running out and buying it or trying to get it right upon release.
Yeah, you got to wait at least 6 months to a year after it's released before you even think about buying one. Usually.
So, Steve, go on the record right now. What are you leaning towards, regardless of price? If they come out and they're the same price, which one do you get?
I get PlayStation.
Because you can do stuff on your PC you just bought.
Yeah, I can play the Xbox games on the PC, and the PlayStation games I can't play anywhere else.
Yeah, but if you don't have that PC, which one do you get?
If I don't have that PC, and not including my friends, because it seems like Bill, Gabe, all his friends are all on PlayStation. You are on PlayStation. The only people I got on Xbox are Christopher and John, and John's never on anymore. So I would probably go PlayStation because that's what everybody else is on.
Just to have some community.
Yeah, a little bit. That's the only reason why. If everybody was on Xbox, I'd go Xbox. Doesn't seem.
I won't be buying PS5.
Yeah, I figured you wouldn't be.
You never know.
Years later,
maybe 3 years from now when it's discounted to like half the price, but
a quarter of the price.
I'm gonna get that itch for that VR. Have to get it.
You're gonna buy it. It's gonna collect dust.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that was missing. They mentioned nothing about VR that whole event.
No.
Not a thing. So, but you can get a taco camera with a little white camera.
It's a unique looking camera. I was like, wow. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. It's I wonder if GameStop puckered further when they had that discless console come out. They're like,
they probably weren't happy about that.
How many more Funko Pops you got to sell?
Get some more figures. All right, so that's Sony. We'll keep you guys updated on any kind of price that comes out. Of course, I imagine Xbox.
So wait, I'm going to do the Steve. Give me a number for that Sony. What you just saw with Sony. Give me a number where Sony's at and all that kind of stuff out of 10.
All right, so you're going to take off 3 or 4 points for not showing a price. Right there, you're down to 6. There wasn't a secret game that made you go, oh man, I got to get that. So that's another point down. You're down to 5.
That marquee title that you want, yeah.
Yeah. And then, their big thing was GTA 5, a game that came out 6 years ago. So
The
I
game
give
that
it a
won't
5.
die.
A 5 out of 10 on
A
that.
GTA 5 out of 10.
Yeah, GTA 5 out of 10. Nothing anybody wanted to see showed up. All right, so this week we got a little news, not much, but you guys are familiar with Fords, right? They make cars. They don't make good stock prices, but they are announcing their electric F-150 and electric transit van is coming in 2022.
Well, they got to get out in front of that nickel law or whatever. There's another truck that just got there's the Raven or whatever too. There's a couple different competitors that are going to beat them to market. So the Cybertruck notwithstanding, because the Cybertruck, I don't know what that thing is, but like I'm talking about a traditional style pickup. I think there's 2 Raven, something like that. And I'm misquoting the name. And then, like I said, the Nikola thing just came out.
So my question to you, Charles, formerly owning a Ford electric car, would you be interested in
I'll tell you
Ford
this. If you're going to buy a Ford, an F-150 is the best Ford to buy, in my opinion. It is what they pour all their resources and ability into their F-150, their pickup truck. It is a hands down the best of the Ford lineup. So I'm not anti that. The problem's going to be this is an $80,000 truck all in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's going to be ridiculously overpriced.
Man, what is that going to come at? BV, got any opinion on that price? What do you think it's going to come in at?
It probably minimum of 60, 65. I think when you get it with the features that people are going to want, probably 75, 80.
Yeah. That's great. And Trump's in office, so there's no rebates. There's no nothing on it right now either. That's crazy. I don't know. Steve, you have an opinion?
I think they're going to offer great lease deals on some of them to get them out the door, but to buy one, you're insane. I don't know, great lease deals. It'd probably still be $500 a month leasing. I don't trust Ford Electronics. I got a Ford Pass right now in my dashboard that always says it's updating and it never updates. So I don't trust Ford Electronics for nothing. Ford combustion engine, I'm fine with. You can tell me you're going to build it. And then what you had with the C-Max, no thanks.
Yeah.
I'll wait 10 years to make sure it works right before I get a Ford electric car. That's all I'm going to say about that one.
Those e-vehicles that they came out with, those weird E-Maxes or whatever, like with the weird battery pack and the Fusion and all that kind of stuff, seem to be a well thought of thing. But, I question with Trump in office and Republicans and all this kind of stuff and OPEC and Russia beefing right now, it's probably more expensive. I just renewed the plate on my Bolt. It cost $361 to redo my plate. How much does it cost to run an electric F-150? It's probably prohibitive.
$5,000.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So in the kind of the same vein, Tesla is ready to mass produce electric semi-trucks. They are trying to work out some deals to produce those. I think for UPS and other companies, Walmart is interested in them too. What are your guys' thoughts on electric semi-trucks?
Now, this is fleet use is where it's going to be. So you're going to be able to put those big 3-phase superchargers in all these places. If fuel cost notwithstanding for someone who drives an F-150, your fuel cost at a FedEx or a UPS and all this kind of stuff is going to be astronomical. Plus, the maintenance that is attached to a combustion engine, I can speak firsthand, owning an electric vehicle is great because there's no maintenance. So imagine you had a fleet of 15 electric UPS trucks or whatever. You wouldn't have to do the same amount of maintenance attached to them. Plus, you'd have the fuel savings in it. I can see this one being a huge hit. BV, you have any opinion?
If it works, it is completely, totally game over. And it's not just game over for the truck industry, it's game over for the oil industry.
Oh, wow.
Because if they can make that work, well, I mean, and oil companies
Well, these aren't self-driving. These are just electric.
No, that's not the point. No.
Oh, okay.
You have fleets of semi-trucks that no longer have to get fuel. I mean, that is a huge percentage of fuel sales in the U.S. I mean, if it would probably take a while for it to scale up anyway. But and
10 years of that, though, would be a scary time for the oil
Yeah.
industry, is what you're saying.
And oil companies realize, the oil industry knows that this is the direction it's going, and they're having to make changes to adjust. So they're trying to get out in front of, like, for example, BP, the company I work for, has put a ton of money into battery power and trying to get out in the forefront of how these changes to electric power and other non-fossil fuel sources, get integrated into the regular driving society and what was typically the fuel industry. But if this was to, and did they say how quickly they're going to have these?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, if they can do this in a few years' time, this is a total game changer. And it's one thing to make a pickup truck or a car and have it, where it
you're
can
saying fleet moving is a whole other conversation.
Because even if it's more expensive, the amount of overall money they save on fuel, maintenance, and whatnot, as long as these batteries are enough to handle long, like cross country hauls and whatnot. I mean, companies will spend the extra money for the electric.
The
fleet
upfront cost won't scare them.
Over the life of the
return on investment's much better.
Oh, it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, they just came out with that new battery technology that they're saying is good for like 1 million miles too. That Castle company, CASTL or something, is a Chinese company that's saying that with this new battery tech, they can guarantee the longevity of the cells for like 1 million miles or something crazy. So I don't know. It's an interesting time, and I can speak firsthand. The maintenance is one of the biggest things that I cannot tell you guys is when people got to go and get oil changes and do all this other stuff. I rotate the tires 7,500 miles and change the cabin air filter, and that's it. And that is a beautiful thing. Let me tell you, that is one of the things that's huge. And again, to BV's point, if you had a fleet of FedEx trucks that you had to do oil changes on, and how often do they do? I mean, Steve, you drove for domestic. How often did you have to take your domestic truck in for like scheduled maintenance and all that kind of stuff? Can you speak on that?
It was about the same as an average car, 5,000 miles, whatever.
How quickly would you hit that number, though, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
That I didn't drive that far, and you do a lot of idling and get out and deliver and stuff like that.
And that's just pure wear and tear on that combustion engine, to your point with the idling,
yeah,
too.
it broke down a lot. Don't get me wrong there.
Less moving parts in an electric vehicle, to BV's point. You got less moving parts, too. That's one of the things that's a big plus to that. It'll be an interesting time. I'll be curious to see 10 years from now, to BV's point, what the world looks like and what mass transportation does. And then, God forbid, they figure out a way to get those trucks talking to each other and then, like, caravanning down the interstate. Wow. Crazy.
Everything that I hear about where the battery industry is right now is that they're both very close, having batteries that can be for large vehicles that can be charged very quickly. And they're also very close to being able to produce them at a much lower cost. So we're apparently not that far away from electric vehicles, at least having the ability.
It's because the Watchmen
to be more affordable. Whether auto companies
we're
will pass
living the
same
Watchmen. Everyone needs to watch that show now. This is the craziest
It's very relevant
thing.
right now.
It's crazy.
All right, so there you go. We got some electric cars coming. Maybe my Ford stock will go up a nickel. All right, so now last I put this on for Charles. Arcade 1UP. You familiar with them, Charles?
All too well. I got this email, actually.
And all the new systems are real. X-Men versus Street Fighter's coming. I'd like that one. That's a good one. Miss Pac-Man, Big Buck Hunter with the light gun is coming out.
This
and then
Marvel
also,
digital pinball spoke to me.
It's a big pinball machine.
It's not big. It's scaled. It's scaled still.
Yeah.
But yeah, part of me was like, ooh, I could put that somewhere.
This company has hit a nerve because they must be selling a lot of stuff because they keep putting out new ones, and they keep getting licenses to pretty big old companies. So
I think they're fantastic products. I mean, they're not the same size. I got my Gallagher one sitting right next to me that sits in the studio and stuff like that. And I They are great products. I can't deny it. I fight this. You know what I mean? Like, super cool. I don't know.
How long before the Marvel digital pinball shows up at your house?
I don't have the room for it, is what I tell myself.
You look good on that back porch.
Yeah, shut up.
So there's the news. Ford's got electric cars if you trust them. Tesla's trying to make big semi-trucks. And Arcade One's still pumping out new arcades.
What is the you get awfully quiet during all the electric stuff. What is Steve's take on electric cars and all that kind of stuff? What is Steve's?
I was being dead serious about Ford and their electrics. If Chevy did it or some other company, I'd be more than fine.
What do you think though about, like, you know, electrifying fleets and stuff like that? Like, what is your?
I like the idea. I mean, I've seen being a Farmer Jacks and working out and visiting Dad and stuff. I mean, just the pure pollution that pours out of those things. You know, they're broke down, and all the money that can be saved by making them electric. I would wonder what the maintenance on those batteries and where to replace those batteries and stuff. Because I rode pallet jacks, which were all battery operated, right, for work, and high-lows. And they're all battery operated, but they would die a lot. So you're always driving into maintenance.
Certain ones, like, 212 sucks. It only lasts like 40 minutes. Take 102. It's always a better one.
So they still had a maintenance crew on hand because they're always swapping batteries back and forth. So,
but to the point, that's probably an older tech to BV's kind of point where he talked about with the batteries. You know, that's an older sealed lead acid battery. What BV's talking about is crazy, capacitive, different. Yeah. But there is still going to be some maintenance to it. So I don't think mechanics are going to lose their job. I think they're going to have to train and figure out. They're going to have to modify and change.
And stuff like if they want to still work in that area. So I don't think those jobs will be lost. I don't think the truck drivers will be lost. But I do think, like Bill was saying, he might lose. You know, BP will be struggling, and the gas stations will be struggling. So I don't know if gas stations convert to charging stations. I don't know if they could do that or start doing that. If they're smart enough,
already working in that direction.
Yeah. So.
So I have a question for you. You're a Ford stockholder, right, Steve?
Yeah. I'm making the big bucks.
Do you think Ford can afford to screw up this move to the electric cars? I mean, they've already announced that they're going to do that SUV, the Mustang SUV, and
I see a lot of those, by the way, over here. They're kind of snazzy looking vehicles. I still don't get why they got the Mustang logo on them, but they're a neat looking car.
Because F-150 and Mustang is the only thing that sells for them, so they got to put that on everything.
No, there's a lot of test vehicles everywhere. A lot of test vehicles.
Yeah, I don't know if Ford can afford to screw this up. I mean, they're kind of hanging by a loose thread already.
Well, I read somewhere the other day that Tesla's worth is like worth GM and Ford combined or something crazy. Did you guys read that at all? Like, if you were to go by Tesla's. Like, that is a crazy change in the industry, you know what I mean? Like, wow.
Yeah, they became the largest automobile company in the U.S. a year ago, like roughly about a year ago.
Crazy. Different times, man. I don't know.
So, yeah, I think it's a good thing, and I hope it does happen, but I just, be smart.
Can you see yourself driving an electric car, Steve? Do you think you could see yourself?
Yeah, it don't make a difference. The only thing that makes a difference to me is price, right? I can't afford $700 a month, all right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now. So you keep it under $400, I got a shot.
that F-150 is going to be outrageous. Oh, God. That price on
that. You give us Holly. We'll let you drive this truck for 2 years.
But the crazy
They're already
part,
outrageous.
Yeah, I bet you we're gonna see a lot of them on the road, man. I really do. Those V6 and those new F-150s are a really nice truck, and they've done a really good job with fuel economy in those new trucks. But imagine not having to fuel up an F-150. I wonder what it would do to their payload capacity and stuff like that too. Interesting times, man.
Yeah, we're getting to the future slowly. Doesn't seem like it from the news, but we're getting there.
Taking a couple steps backward.
And also, like I said earlier in the week, I did see a legitimate Space Force commercial.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I thought it was a spoof, but on TBS they had a Space Force commercial. So we're getting to the future slowly but surely. All right.
Let me pause you. In Steve's lifetime again, how much into space do you think we're going to get in Steve's lifetime? So you'll be, 45 this year? You turned 45 this year? Isn't that how old?
I just turned 45, yes.
45. So
I'm glad my brother knows that.
I don't give a shit about you or your birthday. But I have it written down somewhere. But listen, so what do you reach out into Steve's lifetime? How crazy into space and like how crazy to future do we get in Steve's lifetime? What is your opinion?
All right. Well, let's see. Unless I lose a lot of weight, I'm aiming for 65 and dead, right?
Okay, so you got 2 decades. 2 decades.
So 2 decades. I think we might see between now and then a colony on the moon doing something, mining.
Some people
might
living.
Be scientific.
Okay.
Yeah. Right now, I guess China's already up there doing something.
They're on the
knows.
moon?
They've dropped some equipment up there already.
Oh,
so
okay.
China's getting there. And that's that competitive edge that U.S. needs. Now we got China did it. We got to do it. So now I think we're going to start doing it a little bit. So I think something's going to happen on the moon. Either a scientific colony up there just researching stuff, or maybe another telescope to make us see further out into space out there. So something might happen there. That would be I think Mars is still a pipe dream at this point until we find out something that can travel faster and quicker through space, until the Vulcans come down and we meet them in First Contact like Star Trek. But that would be my guess. That I'm going to go with that. Maybe something on the moon permanently
in your lifetime. You think that's going to be like a permanent residence on the moon kind of thing?
Yeah,
like an international space station, but like on the moon kind of thing. Like
yes,
an installment or an.
Yeah,
BV, what is your opinion? What do you got going on? Reach into your scientific trappings and tell me what you think is going to happen.
I don't really know, but I think I guess that's possible in Mars, or excuse me, in the moon. Do they really want to do that? I don't know if there's some kind of strategic advantage or scientific advantage to putting something specifically on the moon, other than just to say you've done it. Mars, I think, for them to colonize and whatnot, there's probably too much of the atmospheric stuff, and being able to navigate how you actually sustain life up there. That for us to get to that point, probably we're still alive, but nothing would surprise me. I don't know. Science isn't really my thing, so
I wonder how ubiquitous. So I think that the internet is pretty ubiquitous as it is, but I'm saying what's the next 3 or 4 generations of high-speed internet look like? I think we're going to go into more wearable techs too. I think that's one of the bigger things that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to carry cell phones as much anymore. I think we're going to have some kind of embedded personal tech, not embedded into your person, but on you or something. I think the time of having a physical device in your pocket is going to come to an end. If I had to guess, in the next 25 years or something like that. I just can't see us holding phones all the time. There's got to be some kind of device, just reaching into scientific roots, like a halo type system that went around your head or something like that. That would,
What show was I watching? There was some show where they went like this. And then your cell phone screen would pop up.
Yeah, or somehow.
I can't remember what show that was. I would think it'd be like an earbud you put in your ear, and then it displays in front of you.
Yeah, somehow it can zip by you or something. I don't know. I just think that's crazy. I also think that when we bought for my daughter's room a solar system, a map of the true size of solar. Here's the sun, and then how all the. And when you realize how far Mars is away from us, I just don't see it in our lifetime. Is what I do. I know Elon Musk is an amazing guy, but it would literally take months, if not years, to get to it. And then by the time you got to it, what were you eating the whole time and all that? That's a far.
Yeah, the first couple crews that go there got to know they're not coming back, right?
Yeah, you're toast, right? You're done, right?
Yeah. That's. I hate to say it, but. That's what it feels like.
I mean, they already put a rover out there, so I don't know, man. But when you start looking at those distances and stuff like that, it's hard to even wrap your brain around it, Anyway, so back onto Steve's rant now that we've gone on a scientific or a science fiction hole here.
Now that we've tried to... No, finally, this annoys me. So you guys know, and I've said on the podcast before, I had 2 concerts for my wife and daughter this summer. Maroon 5 at GTE or whatever the hell it's called now. And then I also had Harry Styles tickets. Bill with the Maroon 5. Harry Styles tickets for my daughter in July. And of course, I bought these before COVID. This is back in December. And, well, as we all know, what happened? So Maroon 5 has postponed their concert, but they won't give me my money back.
Postponed it to when?
There's no date. It just says postponed. They haven't found an official date to real postpone it. Now, Harry Styles this week rescheduled his to next September in 2021,
Jeez.
and he was nice enough to give us our money back. He said, if you want a refund, click them at refund. And I got the money back for Harry Styles. But goddamn,
the problem is with what you and your daughter do.
Kiss my sack.
Yeah, because the problem is with that, she might not even be into a certain band by then, too. You know,
Yes.
with music being so fickle, that would be rough, man. If you couldn't get your cash back and she's just not even into Harry Styles, you're like, oh man.
Yeah. So Harry Styles was $210. And it was a Christmas gift, so I'll give half.
You just laugh.
How many tickets?
3 tickets for Harry Styles. Maroon 5 was 2 tickets. It was $400. Just so you know.
Oh, jeez.
Wow. Okay, you
fuck
deserve
nuggets won't give me my money.
whatever
You
you
got
get for
$400 into
Maroon
Maroon 5?
Yeah, well, it's $395 and like 67 cents.
Wow. I can see why you want that money
deserve what you
back,
get for that
man. Wow.
But they won't. So Ticketmaster puts the blame on Live Nation and Adam Levine, and they won't respond. Like I've gone as far to follow Maroon 5 on Twitter just to see if they're going to offer a refund.
Oh.
And people have been tweeting them like, "This is tough times. You won't give us a refund," and they won't respond. They just won't give a refund. It's
that
all
does
on
seem
them.
kind of bad. Yeah, it seems a bit bad.
So, those bastards.
Where were they at? Little Caesars? You paid so much. It must be at Little Caesars Arena.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's Little Caesars Arena. Any event that's
No,
come
no,
there
no,
has
it
been
wasn't.
insanely expensive.
It wasn't Little Caesars. It was. I got the tickets right here.
Those are gold,
DTE.
man. Wow, $200
Oh
a
hell
piece
no!
at
You paid
DT.
$200 a ticket for DTE.
Wow.
Well, I got seats. I'm not sitting in the.
I don't care if it was. Yeah.
BV wants to sit on his lap for $200. Is what he said.
Well, no, I mean, but I don't know. I can't see anything at DTE that would justify that price. Certainly not Maroon 5.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah,
I can't-
we got our we didn't get our money back, so we had the flight booked to go to Texas this summer, and the airlines at least allowed us to like get a credit because we want to go to Paris next year anyway and go to France if the world's normal. But so we're just gonna take that credit and apply it towards those tickets and stuff like that. But like Maroon 5 is just like we'll see you when we see you. God,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So I'm sponsoring whatever random thing Adam Levine's into right now. If he buys a new guitar or something.
Yeah, that's
I'll
crazy.
pay for it. I can't believe, and it's like there's a ton.
$200 seems outrageous for Maroon 5. Who? This was Michelle's want, obviously.
Yes.
Whew,
Yes.
man. I hope the voice is really good at your house, because goddamn.
He's not even on The Voice anymore.
Oh my god,
Wow.
$200.
That's a lot of ass whooping.
Well, there you go. That's my rant, and Adam Levine won't give me my money back.
So if you see him, anyone out there in our audience, if you see Adam Levine, say Steve's looking for his cash.
yeah, it's like, where's my loot, man?
Yeah, wow.
So, all right, that's gonna wrap us up for this week. Next week, I might be in studio with Holly. Holly's gonna tell us how her driving test went, and she's gonna wear her new comfy to show you her comfy in person.
All right.
And of course, Bill will still be having his book report, and I might have some new animation to find. So until next week, you can catch us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. I did just test this out on iTunes and make sure we work. We do work. So if anyone out there ever sees or hears technical difficulties with our podcast, let us know so I can test it. But until next week, this is Steve and
Charles.
catch you next time.